We've confirmed, we've gone live, and I hope that everything is working. Hello everybody, welcome to the stream. Whether or not things are up and running properly is a pretty damn big question that I'm relying on you guys to answer. Because I thought I would give Streamlabs another shot, but this time I'm giving Streamlabs a shot. Oh dear, that's not what I was intending to do. That's a me problem, not a Streamlabs problem, which is quite nice at least. But I thought I would give Streamlabs a shot in a stream where I'm actually talking about things. I know, it's crazy, right? So, let's have a little bit of a conversation about the various bits of Leeds United news, about Creator Cup things if you want, that's up to you guys, about everything that we can possibly think of, and that will be absolutely spectacular. For some reason, the chat box is not picking anything up. So if I go to properties, refresh the current page. That's because it's not the chat box. That's because that's the chat box. Yeah, if you guys keep spamming things in the chat, that'd be massively appreciated. Thank you, guys. If I do that, and then I do, give me 1 second, that, and then that might work. We'll find out. If not, then I will just do this stream elsewhere, because I want to see if things work. There we go, that'll do. Yeah, anyway, hope we're all well. We've got a few different bits and bobs to talk about, which I thought we would do so in a stream over on Streamlabs, which is a slightly different way of doing things. So if things get a little bit confusing, I'm sorry about that. I'm absolutely doing my best. Multiple different bits of news. The first is around what Michael has mentioned down here. For some reason, I still can't highlight messages. I promise I'm trying, but I've not been able to work out how to do that. Yes, Aaron Ramsdale, currently goalkeeper at Southampton, has a chunky release clause in his contract. 20 million quid, which you look at and you think, oh, that's a little bit of money for a goalkeeper, especially when Kelleher went for significantly less fairly recently. Some would argue Ramsdale more experienced, Ramsdale technically sort of Premier League proven. That's not personally where my opinion sits, but that's okay. Everyone has different opinions. It's the world of football. That's what opinions are, and that's what they do. But there is a little bit of word from over in Turkey. It's the club that we very much do not like. Are interested in signing Aaron Ramsdale. Now, it is up to you as to whether or not you believe this is bad news for Leeds United, whether or not you believe this is good news for Leeds United. It's up in the air. For me, I think it's sort of fine. We're going to get a goalkeeper anyway. A lot of people are very, very spooked about what if Leeds United don't get a goalkeeper? What if it's Meslier in net? It's not going to be Meslier in net. Let's be clear about that. I would be very surprised if Illan Meslier started our first match of the next season, assuming something incredibly weird hasn't happened. So, for example, we sign a new goalkeeper, he breaks his leg. That is the only case in which I can see that happening. But it won't happen, so it's completely fine. The Real Madrid match ended. Okay. Ramsdale himself as the goalkeeper isn't the one that I'm particularly caring about, I'll be completely honest with you. There's a long list of goalkeepers that I would take before Ramsdale. He's not the worst, and a lot of people are like, what does this mean, you don't like Ramsdale? No, I'm fine enough on him. However, there are many other goalkeepers that I feel significantly more fine on, and that I'd be far more comfortable with a signing. So that's where I'm sitting on the Aaron Ramsdale sort of conversation. Which I don't know what people think of that. If you want to shout at me in the comments, absolutely go for that. And whilst you are down in the comments, whilst you are having a bit of a shout, could you do me a favour? And if you aren't yet, there's a subscribe button about here. Could you please boop it? Because I want to see if my subscriber alert works. I don't know if it does yet, because I've been setting things up on Streamlabs for a while. I was trying to do this both on YouTube and on Twitch at the same time. For some reason, I couldn't sort out the multi-streaming in time, but I will try and get that worked out going forwards. But yeah, if you haven't subscribed yet, please go ahead and do so. That would be really, really kind of you. I think it also does alerts for like super chats and channel memberships and everything, which is really, really cool. but I'm not going to shout at you to do those. I am going to say, get your tickets for the Leeds Creator Cup, because I've done so much prep work for that today that is ridiculous. I've got a very, very big spreadsheet. Hold on, I'm going to show off the spreadsheet because I'm kind of proud of it. If we put that here, if we get Streamlabs, put Streamlabs over here, and we change to this one, look at my spreadsheet. Look at this. Ah, it's ridiculous. Look at the amount of stuff. Look at the amount of things that I need people to do. It's incredible. But yeah, if you would like to support the Leeds Creator Cup, £7 ticket for adults, £3 for kids. Will be absolutely wonderful to see as many of you there as possible. Anyway, diving into the next little bit, and that was the bit surrounding Manor Solomon. Manor Solomon has been a very, very weird case so far, especially in this transfer window. We came out of last season thinking, brilliant, let's just go and sign Manor Solomon. That's going to make things significantly easier for us. We won't have to overthink anything. That'll be wonderful. And then, Spurs won a trophy and then sacked their manager, which puts them in a very weird spot where a lot of players will want to play for Spurs because Champions League football. And at the same time, a lot of Spurs' existing players will want to make an impact, which is obviously that makes sense because you will want to sort of say, hey, new boss, look how good I am at football, play me more, which is the situation that Manor Solomon is going to be in. And as far as I could tell earlier, it looks very, very, very much like Manor Solomon will be staying at Spurs next season, which isn't what you necessarily want to see. I would have rather enjoyed it if he hadn't done that, and if he decided that his future was going to be at Leeds United, because he's a very, very good player, fun to watch, and dug us out of a good few holes last season. He won us the league, let's be completely honest about this. But for me, it brings up the question of what happens around him. Hold on, just to cover what Mr. Whitesnake has said. You mean players want to be given everything on our plate? I don't think that's what this is at all, to be completely honest. If you're looking at it from the perspective of the player, if you are Manor Solomon right now, you're going to see nice new shiny manager at the club where the previous manager got rid of you. You're going to want to play European football. At the end of the day, you're going to want to earn your place in that squad. I don't think this is a case of him wanting things to be given to him. I think it's the opposite. I think this is a case of he wants to fight for a place at Spurs. And I completely respect that. I understand it. I would rather he not do that so he could come to Leeds United. Like, if he wanted things handing to him, he could have signed for Leeds and almost immediately been given like a starting berth in the first team squad. No doubt for me. Because that's what he had last season, and he sort of proved that he deserved that. The concern is that this is a demonstrating factor of Leeds United's relative pull. So compare the amount of pull that we have in the transfer market to Spurs. We know we're not going to fight Spurs on that because they're in the Champions League. Okay, compare it to Forest, Europa League. That gets difficult. About half of the Premier League is playing European football next season. And if you look a little bit further, there's only 3 clubs that are the favourites to go down next season. We are one of them, and players from elsewhere will look at that and go, I'm not entirely convinced by that. Which I like, completely understandable from their perspective. But it's not a good spot for us to be in, so we'll need to make ourselves the most attractive destination possible. And I don't know how we do that. We've got to find a way. Because if we don't have a way, then that's a problem. It's like as Clive has said here, because I can't highlight comments right now. Why would anyone pick Brentford over Leeds? In this specific case, that's because Brentford are almost guaranteed Premier League football next season. Whereas on the other hand, Leeds are very much not. Like, I will have a quick look at the betting odds for next season. Odds checker, Premier League relegation. Give me a second. Yeah, So currently, the most likely to go down is Sunderland, obviously. The one after that is Burnley, obviously. And the one after that is us. Approximately evens depending on where you look. So it's about 50-50 as to whether we go down. And you say Brentford are guaranteed nothing. However, they're far more safe than Leeds United as an option right now. If you're a player looking to sign for a team, if you go to France as an example, and let's have a quick check of that league. Just give me the table. I don't. Okay, that's nice. I don't care about subsequent competitions when you're not showing me the table. There we go. If you are a footballer in France and you have a choice of clubs to go to, one of the clubs on the potential team list is Paris FC. Paris FC being capital city, club with a massive cult following behind them. It's basically full of supporters that in a lot of cases left PSG because of the Qatari ownership, and their support grew and grew and grew, and it got bigger and it got bigger and it got bigger. It's an attractive prospect. However, if you're in that situation and you are a player in France and Paris FC offer to sign you, but so do Angers, who are a fairly consistent Ligue 1 side, you're going to go with them because otherwise you could be a Ligue 2 player next season. You don't want to just drop down again. And I agree. If they get Keith Andrews, they're in trouble. But they're not necessarily going to get him. And their quality of player right now is comfortably clear of ours. Like, I feel a lot of people's issues at the moment is they're looking at the Premier League and they're thinking, oh, we do this easy. Because we've had a season of Tanaka is the best midfielder in the league. We've had a season of Piru, scores 4 goals out of nowhere. Brilliant. We've had a season of Dan James just ripping up a division. Junior Firpo being absolutely on fire. That's not going to be next season. Those players are not necessarily... It's not going to be that easy. And I think we need to understand this. Like Locks did, for example. Locks' Leicester City, who are now not in the Premier League, had a very, very firm reminder of, oh, this is a scary division to be in. And like, we're one of the favourite sides to go down. So if you're asking the question of Brentford or Leeds, if you are a player that is a complete third party that has nothing to do with this conversation, you look at that and you go, shit. And yeah, at the moment, we don't know what our team is yet. That's a very good point, Lee. But the further point behind that is, whilst we don't know what the team is yet, we know going into the transfer window what Brentford are starting with and what Leeds are starting with. And they're starting from a way taller foundation than we are. Which, if you're a player who is going to be one of the players coming in, you don't want to be the first in the door, because if you're the first in the door and you're a ridiculously good footballer, and no one follows you, relegated. And then you're in the Championship. Which ain't a good place to be. You can say rubbish, absolute rubbish. Like this idea that promoted teams have no chance of staying up and clubs like Brentford are guaranteed survival. I'm not saying they're guaranteed survival. To be completely clear, they're not guaranteed to survive. I hope they don't. I hope we stay up instead of them. But it's bonkers to come at things and say, no, yeah, we're the favourites to stay up. If you're a player of a different club in a different country, you would absolutely choose Leeds United over Brentford. No, because they've not got that emotional investment that we do. They don't give a shit that Leeds were a big club in, like, late 90s, early 2000s, back in the Revie era. They couldn't care less. What they could care about is their career. Why are we sending Yacobiel when Newcastle and AC Milan were interested in him? On the AC Milan front, AC Milan had many, many, many other targets. They were looking in a lot of directions. On the Newcastle one, I assume Newcastle weren't that interested. Like in that specific case, we only heard that Newcastle were interested basically after we'd heard that we'd agreed personal terms with him, or we were deep into negotiations with him. So if you're in a sort of, haha, Remy D, I've already done a stream on that saying that I was wrong. It's fine. Um, so when Newcastle come in that late in the day, it's sort of like, well, no, because I've got an agreement here. In the same way that Rafinha found it really hard to not go to Chelsea at one point, because basically terms had been agreed for Rafinha to go to Chelsea at one point, and he found it a bit of a struggle to not go because he likes to stick to his word. But he ended up going to Barcelona instead, so he prefers that. But a lot of players will be in the case of wanting to follow what they said. You say we were a big club in 2000. Very different context. That was a context of having one of the most famous, influential managers in world football. I have an idea for a video that I don't know if many people will watch. But the idea for this video is that Marcelo Bielsa is the most influential manager in football history. Because if you look at everyone that sort of came through after him and followed in his footsteps of this is the way that we play now, he's up there. Big part of that conversation. Yeah, he did, Russ. However, not all players are going to make the same personal decision. I'm just saying, 99% of the time, we are going to be a less attractive prospect than a club that is set in the Premier League. And Clive, if you are continuing to deny that, you are in denial. It's nice to think that the club that you support are the most attractive option for a player looking for a move. It's not. And we've got evidence of that with Kelleher. And you say with the blessing of all the YouTubers, one, I wasn't a YouTuber at this point, so don't I've got no dog in this one. And two, are we really holding up Victor Orta as a bastion of good decision making? Nah, not for me. Yeah, I am. I'm not saying that for me I would choose to go to Brentford because I wouldn't, because I'm a Leeds fan. But players wouldn't come to Leeds a lot of the time. It depends. Anyway, let's get on to the next bit of news, which was the Solomon flavoured stuff. Basically, yeah, he, according to lots of reports, including from Isaac Johnson at Leeds Live, he would prefer to remain at Spurs to make his case, which is fair enough. That doesn't mean that he's necessarily 100% staying at Spurs, to be completely clear about that, because Spurs are still in a very weird financial position, because Daniel Levy is always someone that has wanted the actual cash there when buying and selling players, rather than just relying on the PSR space, which kind of makes sense. But from a footballing accountancy point of view, that's why you don't win trophies. And they don't really have that much cash on hand right now, because last season they bought a good few players, including Archie. So if they want to sign significant players, they're gonna need to sell some. And those players that they sell would need to be peripheral players. I don't know whether or not that entails Manor Solomon yet. That will sort of come down to what happens in pre-season over there, I assume. I'll be honest, I don't give that much of a shit about Tottenham's pre-season. But that's roughly what will define what happens with the Manor Solomon situation. And I'll be honest, I kind of hope he comes. We know he's a good player. We know that he enjoyed his time in the city. We know that we enjoyed him. But I don't know. We'll see where we end up with it. Outside of that, in terms of news for the day, there hasn't been tons. There was a right, hold on, this is just gonna come here. What do you think that's Spurs telling him what to say to enhance project? That because that wouldn't affect the price. The thing with saying that like it'd affect price is the person that we need to persuade here isn't Spurs. The person that we need to persuade here is Manor Solomon. So if Solomon's the one that we need to persuade, us giving Spurs more money isn't going to do that. Maybe he's saying it to get a bigger wage out of us or something, but it wouldn't affect the fee in any way, shape, or form. Yeah, it's the new manager thing. Spurs have a new manager that sort of takes all of the control away from us, which is a bit of a shame. Needs to get Michael Cooper from Sheffield United. I don't know. I think there's better on the continent. And I normally hate people who say there's going to be better players somewhere in Europe. There's examples. This isn't just I will find someone. Dachman, Petrovic. That's my two. Outside of that, maybe you start to look at Michael Cooper, but he's not towards the top of that list. I've seen a little bit more zest around Nick Pope picking up. Because reportedly, Burnley have their new goalkeeper coming in. And if Burnley have a goalkeeper coming in, for me, that says goalkeeper going out, which means Trafford. Trafford supposedly linked with Newcastle, which brings up Pope. And the conversation continues saying Leeds need a goalkeeper, Nick Pope's becoming available. The dominoes may be falling, but I don't know. If the player set up for Marijuana just curious of the return of Leonard, I don't know what the drug testing policy is for the Premier League. This is a stupid one, but you've made me really curious. Drug testing, Premier League. Eddie said he wants. I'm guessing that's Eddie Howe. Said he wants Pope to stay. He might do, but then again, if Pope wants minutes, he can force an exit either way. It'll work out. Ramazani may prove himself on the left wing, so maybe another rotational player on the left. That's the one we don't need, though. Because Ramazani can play on the left. Nonto can play on the left. On the right, it's Dan James. And that's it. The mistake we've been making for recent seasons is we've massively overstacked the left flank. So if we can maybe get another right winger in, that would be quite nice. And it would make me feel significantly safer with the entire thing. I don't know whether or not it would make a difference. But Farke should tell all the players, mostly the strikers, left wingers, that any of them could start the season if they play well in pre-season. That will be said. Because that will be said every pre-season. There is no guaranteed spot for anybody. Except if we sign a goalkeeper. Because obviously you're a new goalkeeper at a Premier League club with a side that is being replaced. So Okay, so key facts about drug tests. All testing will be without advance notice. If you refuse to take the test, it can lead to a 4-year suspension from football. You must stay in full view of the doping control officer or chaperone from the moment you've been notified you've been selected for testing until it's complete. You need to piss in a jug in front of the officials. You'd get such performance anxiety. You'll be asked to remove enough clothing so the DCO or chaperone can directly observe the passing of urine from the body into the collection vessel. You gotta go dong out in front of the drug man. If your sample's too diluted, you'll be required to provide an additional sample. If you drink too much water, you need to piss again into a different cup. Also, please show respect to the officials at all times. This took a walk into a weird direction. I was having a chat earlier with Joe, and we got onto live stream formats and stuff, and I was like, should I do more structured things? Which is why I tried what I tried to do here by sort of going, look, we're going to cover these stories. It's going to be the Ramsdale stuff. It's going to be the Solomon stuff. It's going to be whatever's left over. And now we're talking about piss. So, I love YouTube. Aren't you supposed to drink plenty of water? You'd think, yeah. And the fact that they do it by surprise, without announcing it in advance, is okay, so players are meant to stay hydrated, but at the same time, if you're too hydrated, you might make the drug authorities mad at you because you drunk too much water and your pee isn't enough pee. It's very weird. Anyway, what I am going to very quickly do is say, if you haven't liked the stream, please do so. That'd be massively appreciated. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please also do so. On at full time of the charity match, which is happening on the 20th of July at 1 p.m. Once we hit full time, I will be donating as many pennies as I have subscribers to Prostate Cancer UK, in addition to what is already in the sort of pot. So, like the piss. No, not like the piss. So if you haven't subscribed yet, doing so is effectively a little micro donation to charity. So you don't even need to get a ticket to the charity match. You can also be a channel member if you fancy. It's £2.99 a month. You get a bunch of videos and stuff early, and this is a fun one. What I'm gonna need to do is do a test stream on the day of the charity match. This will be before the charity match, specifically when the warm-ups are happening. So, if you want to watch the entire charity match event from player warm-ups all the way through, become a channel member, because I need to do a test stream and I'm going to do it to members. So that'd be wonderful. If you want to watch Joe Wainman lose a header once again in a training session, don't tell him I told you this. Go and do that. That'd be lovely. But anyway, we've got some other little bits to natter about. I saw earlier someone was talking about the Yacobiol thing. Yacobiol signing for Leeds United. This isn't really a question. It's been confirmed by, I believe, Romano twice. Graham Smith has basically said, yeah, it's done. It's happened. It's over. It's completed. All that hasn't happened yet is an official announcement. And those tend to take a while because clubs will wait for the best time to do so. So, for example, they can wait and wait and wait and wait, and then if it comes to the date of a kit announcement, drop it then. Because, look, shiny new player and shiny new kit. You like the player, subconscious link to the kit. You're going to like that as well. Could be waiting for 1st of July, because PSR reasons. And it could also be a case of just not wanting to do it yet. Like, doing it... How do I phrase that? So, had his medical Thursday, everyone believes. Don't want to release him on a Friday night, because everyone's paying attention to other shit. Same thing for Saturdays and Sundays. Ideally, you want to go with the midweek. You want to go in the evening. That's when people are going to be scrolling through social media and stuff, and that's how you get the big engagement. So, for example, and I'm going to let you in on a little secret of the channel. This is, shh, don't tell anyone. But when it comes to me scheduling my videos and the fact that I will record it on an evening, do it later on, all that kind of stuff, the ones on a morning vary depending on the day of the week. So Saturday and Sunday, the morning video releases will be at something like 8 or 9 p.m. because people have had a lie-in. So people wake up, open YouTube, there I am, uploaded 2 or 3 minutes ago, the fresh news. On the other hand, if I were to do so at like 4 p.m, let's not go 4, let's go 5 p.m. If it's in the middle of the week, people are commuting, you're not going to get those views. If it's in the middle of the week, people potentially eating, not going to get those views. So it's one of those things where the club is very clearly thinking PR media questions, which is important for a football club in the Premier League. A lot of people will go like, we'll just announce him, it doesn't matter. Yes, it does. Because as a Premier League club, this is the time where you can grow. This is the time where people are the most excited about you. You're a club that last time we came up had matches where, regardless of whether it was good for us or not, goals galore. We came up last time with the most exciting manager. So, having come up again, this is the time where there's a little bit of a buzz about us. There's a little bit of a, what they're going to do this time. Because a lot of fans won't necessarily be predicting, they're completely screwed. A lot of fans might be approaching it with the perspective of maybe they can get some pretty damn good results, which is why it's a bit of a shame it's like Everton on the first day and not someone bigger, because that would have drawn more eyes to the club and all that kind of stuff. It's a timing thing. So now you're talking us up after saying Brentford are more attractive. Clive. If you are a football player and you are looking to play Premier League football, let us take a moment and ask, over the past few seasons, if you want to play Premier League football as a long-term prospect, do you really want to come to a newly promoted club? From a fan's perspective, they want to see exciting games of football. They want to see football with goals, which we provided last time. Both us being exciting for fans and other clubs being more attractive for players can be true at the same time. They are different audiences. It's that simple. Okay, now you're either rage baiting or you're a genuine moron. So I'm going to leave that for now. Yes, a mid-table Premier League team is better than newly promoted clubs after the last 2 seasons. Indeed, yeah, definitely are. Players don't give a fuck about the history of a club. They just don't. They've got no reason to. At all. Even a little bit. And also, to be completely clear with you, Kelleher being the example here, he moved when they did have a manager. So, whatever. Anyway. The little bits and bobs of stories, because I can't Clive anymore. The official arrival of another Leeds United body to Everton has happened. In this specific case, it is Nick Hammond. So their transfery stuff is going to change a little bit, which is, I don't know if that's good for them or bad for them. But it means that our sort of behind-the-scenes structure has shifted quite a bit. Adam Underwood, I believe, is now the head of recruitment. I'm not 100% certain. But I believe that he will do a good enough job, because everything that we have seen of our recent transfers has been very good stuff. I think we've only really had one actual miss when it comes to our incoming transfers under the 49ers, and that was Jed Spence, and that isn't necessarily a problem on the 49ers half. That is more of a problem on the half of Jed Spence has a personality issue in that specific case. Andrew Thorpe says, hope you're 100% better now. Not particularly, I will be honest with you. Not a great long-term move choosing Luton over us. No one's choosing Luton over us. Well, whatever. Yeah, not 100%. It's still a case of if I go for a walk for too long, my knee just goes, nah, I'm not having that. Which is not great, because it needs to be going long term, especially if I'm playing a big old game of football. I've had a few other little concerns and things surrounding the charity match, including some unexpected costs, which are always fun. So if anyone is interested in sponsoring the Leeds Creator Cup, you could do so. Please do so. We can have that conversation. And I know that in recent weeks/months, I've had a few people reach out and ask if they're able to do like photography stuff for it. If that's you, please get in touch, because I'm putting together the big spreadsheet as I showed you earlier, and I've got a tab for photography, so I will need to keep an eye on that. Player we're linked to went to Luton because they were in the Premier League and only played. Who? Hashioka, maybe? But in that case, he was choosing a Premier League club over a Championship club. I'm not saying they make the best choices, but for example, what unexpected costs? Just various cost increases of various things to do with the event. I'm not gonna go in depth into like the finances of it because I don't particularly want to right now because I spent all day trying to sort this out. But if anyone is interested in sponsoring the event from like a commercial side and chucking an advert or two on there, just let me know because I feel like this thing is going to have a fairly damn big online viewership. It's got a reasonably big in-stadium viewership. So it's a good little bit of you're helping a good thing that's raising a lot of money for charity to happen, and B, what was the other one? Oh yeah, many lots of exposure. Don't overstrain it, you'll pay for it when you're older, recover properly, good luck, you'll be right. Be all definitely a stealth complete, definitely, but unannounced by the club. Like the number of people that are like, it's not official until it's on the website, and it's like, yeah, it's not official, but it's still happening. In the same way that, like, hold on, this is gonna be a problem. There we go. Where was I going? Sorry, my brain went oofed. Yeah, it's I found it. There we go. The people that are saying that like nothing is official until it's announced. Fun fact. Okay, there we go. A fun little fact. The last time the United States officially declared war was in 1942. Now you might think, didn't they just bomb the shit out of Iran? Didn't they have a war in Korea, in Vietnam, in Afghanistan, in Iraq? Probably more. Yes. But they didn't do the official thing. Like, things still happen, even if they've not been officially done yet. Be all is in. We're fine. We're good. Damn, you have to pay to play in this game? What do you mean you have to pay to play in this game? What? Oh, if you're on about organising the charity match, no. But it's more a case of these costs are coming from the fact that I'm organising the thing. And that means paying for stuff like the venue, for the video production, for insurance, for kits. That was a big one. For medical stuff, for stewarding stuff, for what else is on my list? All sorts. Oh, thank you for subscribing, BLCEC mode. That's a hell of a name. I love it. You're still looking for volunteers? I could be. Yeah, I'm basically always looking for volunteers for it. Just because it's going to be a big event and I've got a long list of tasks that will need to be completed by various people. And if you are a people that is willing to complete a task, then you are absolutely welcome to come on in. Which should be a very nice time. In fact, I'm going to do a very quick poll. I want to see what people think. Have you seen a physio for your ailments, hip, knees, gait, etc.? What do you mean, gait? That was rude. I walk fine, mostly. No, because it's not really a day-to-day issue. So it's basically fine. Do I phrase this cheekily? Absolutely I do. There we go. That's how I'm going to phrase it. There are nicer ways to phrase the answer to that question, but that's okay. Yeah, Beale is still honeymooning. Like, we need to remember this. He's not available right now. Shame I'm unable to make the day of the charity game, otherwise I'd help with the presenting, commentary, reporting. Honestly, it's okay. Like, we're currently on the hunt for a person to do a thing, but it needs to be a person that's comfortable in front of cameras and stuff. because we've got one little situation where we don't know what's going on with it, which is a little bit fun, a little bit spooky, and could cause the occasional issue, but we'll be fine. It'll all work out. Do you think Byram stays or is he going? I think... It depends on... And I know that's such, like, a cowardly way of phrasing it, but it depends on what our business is early in the window. Because, like, with a Premier League squad, you have a set number of people, which is fine. That's how the rules work. Might be 25. I think it's 25. If we're in a position where we do plenty of players in, and Sam Byram is looking at it and going, I don't know if I make the 25, never mind the matchday squad, then there's a pretty damn good chance that he goes. I don't think we'll get to that point. I think it's probably worth him sticking around, but I don't know. On the home-produced thing, there's a weird little bit of a sort of misconception on what classes as a homegrown player in the Premier League. It doesn't particularly matter what club you came up in. What it matters with is the country that you came through in. So if you were at an FA affiliated club for 3 years before the age of 21, you count as a homegrown player. So that doesn't particularly matter. But him being cheap in terms of wages, not a problem. It's just a question of his level at the same time. Is there any footage of behind closed door practice that took place at Rothwell Saturday? I don't know, because I wasn't there, because I was working. In the same way that I'm working tonight. My shift starts in... Shit, when does my shift start? Give me a minute. I'm working the City match, I know that much. This is going to be fun. Today on Joe Does a Little Bit of Admin. Okay. That will be work starting at about 1:45, I want to say, and I finish at 5. So, that's fun. What's your ballpark figure to make net for charity? The ballpark at the moment is we've already raised money for charity because all of the costs are coming from sponsors and, if it comes to it, being funded by this YouTube channel. So everything that any viewers or anything put into it, whether that's a donation or whether that is from ticketing, go to the charity. That has never been a question. It will not be a question. That's sorted. It's just a question of the remaining costs and where they're specifically coming from, I guess. But if anyone does fancy sponsoring the event, absolutely go for it. I would love that little bit of support. Question for you guys though. Does anybody have any questions about any of the moves that Leeds United are set to be making in the coming weeks? Any of the rumours? Because I would quite like a little bit of a conversation around everything and cover all of the questions that you guys have, because when I go into these streams and I approach this thinking this might be a fairly long one.
Yeah, Lucas Namacha,
Jesus
I got a message
Graham
Sunday
Smith,
morning.
Shut up. I'm going to have to mute that, aren't I? Yeah. Oh, I can't mute that. How do I do this? Piss. Right, okay, it's fine. We'll work it out. I'll just mute the site. But yeah, any questions about any things are good, because when I approach these, I know the broad outline of what I'm going to cover. I don't know the everything of what I'm going to cover. So if anyone has anything that they want to be covered, that makes things significantly simpler for absolutely everybody involved. Harry Preglion Marco said 4 players this week. Has he? Huh. That's weird. A bit too far for me to travel down here and buy the live stream. You do not need to buy the live stream. It will just be a streamed live stream. It'll just be on YouTube. We will just spend a lot of time pointing people towards the donation link, which will be in the description. It's one of those where I don't want to stop people from being able to watch it because of their financial situation. So it's going to be a case of everyone can watch it, but if you want, you can donate as well. Is the vibe. And all the advertising revenue from the event will also be going towards Prostate Cancer UK, because that's only fair, because it's an event for them. So if any former Leeds players reached out to you, Gary Kelly, might be worth asking. They've not reached out, no. And I'll be honest, and this is covering the question that was asked by Andy with, you seem to be working a lot of graveyard shifts lately. Did you sign up for unsociable hours? Yes. I knew that there would be very, very unsociable hours regardless, because it's a sports job, which means that regardless you're going to be working evenings and weekends. The reason it's been so heavy recently is because it's the Club World Cup, and it's in America, and anything that kicks off fairly late on the West Coast is a killer, to be honest. Which is fun. But you get there. You get there. It's alright. Goalkeeper, who? We get linked in, some other club sweeps in and gets them. That's happened twice, to be fair. Kelleher, Ramsdale. Again, I'm not too bothered on Ramsdale. I wasn't hugely convinced by the links either. Kelleher, fair enough. Yeah, that's an annoying one. But yeah, I don't know. My preferences are still Dachman and Petrovic, but I don't know which we're likely to end up with, if we end up with either of them. What we could end up with, however, is 100 likes on this stream whilst I'm live. Currently on 86, so if you haven't yet, it's down here somewhere. Just give it a boop, and whilst you're down there, do the subscribe button as well. Thank you. Let's get back to it. I like doing those little swings in. Diarra, Goodmanson, Munoz, and someone else. I'm not convinced at all. That'll be those names. I'll donate. My dad died of prostate cancer at 86. Yeah, it's one of those where a lot of people sort of. Right, the phrasing isn't going to be spot on, because I don't know how to phrase it. But the PR behind prostate cancer is not as strong. So it's a thing that is very, very genuinely a massive problem for a lot of people. Like, 1 in 8 men will get prostate cancer in their lives. But that isn't really hugely covered. So when it's a problem, it's a problem. Kickoff time for the match is at 1, but the stream itself and the event is, let's have a look at my nice big spreadsheet. Half 12. Yeah, it's got half-hour build-up, and then the match itself is at 1, and then a little bit of afters as well, which should be quite nice. Thank you for that, Joe. The live stream. The live stream's still going, unless you mean the charity match one. In which case, all good. Where are we? Everyone's saying 1. Thank you, guys. Plus working nights goes quicker. It does not. It does not. Not when you're working Monterey versus River Plate. That was a bad game of football. That was a stinker. Even a red card couldn't make it exciting. I'd take Pope or Johnson over Ramsdale. Yeah, Ramsdale I think might just be cursed as a player, but who knows? Joe's putting in the graph now as a young lad. That way makes a name and replace Goldstein. Do you mean Ornstein? Who's Goldstein? Plenty of time window up until the 1st. It is, yeah. So I think we'll be okay. Like this is entitled Difficult Day, but it's more because we'll have a lot of difficult days. But it's important to acknowledge that they're coming. Petrovic isn't worth 30. I don't think we'd pay 30, would we? Let's have a look. Georgi Petrovic. 25. What's the news say? Chelsea have a gentleman's agreement to sell him for 25. I don't mind paying £25 million for a really good goalkeeper. I know that that's like a controversial one, but I think it's the most underpriced position in football, just in general. Because it's not flashy, but it matters. Is roughly my spot on it, I guess. I get regular checks for the old prostate, don't have to do the bend over. 54 need to get checked, but kind of embarrassed. You should. For safety. And making sure that you're okay. Whoa, what a spreadsheet. I know, it's great. It's huge. And I'm going to be doing more tabs and everything. It's going to include scripting for the ad reads. Everything you could possibly dream of in a spreadsheet is going to be there. And also everything that you couldn't dream of in a spreadsheet, because spreadsheets are naturally very fucking boring. 25 teams abroad, 32 English teams because of English tax. I don't know if that is the case. Right, let's have a very quick look at who I can redirect to, because I am borderline sorted with this stream because I'm getting a little bit tired. Need to have a call with someone after this about their shifts, because it's great. One person has missed a chunk of the early bit of the Club World Cup and is coming into like a well-oiled machine as a new cog and is like, shit, what's going on? So I'm looking forward to sort of getting him rolling on that one. That should be an adventure. If you haven't, by the way, pop a like on the stream. We're 6 away from 100, and the fact that it's currently hovering at 94 is making a little bit of my head go, ooh, I don't like that. It's very near, but it's not, and it's So if you haven't yet, just please do so, and also subscribe. I keep forgetting to say that. If a stranger putting his fingers up my butt, what? I mean, the chap on TalkSport, what? Oh, I don't listen to TalkSport. No, TalkSport is absolutely not for me. I've tried, but it's every time is just, I think they've got that Rory Jennings on a little bit, and it's like, you come on. You can't just say something stupid loudly and have people go, this is clever. No, it's not clever, it's just loud. There's a difference. And not enough people know the difference, which is a shame. Only 4% of people voted saying they hate charity, with 79% of you saying that you'll watch online, which is absolutely wonderful. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to end the poll there. And I'm going to end the stream there, because I have some work to do. So, hope you enjoyed the stream. If you did, pop a like on it, subscribe, become a channel member. All of the fun stuff. Be wonderful. Quick question, actually. Need to make sure of this. Is it Monday tomorrow? I've lost track of days at this point, because I've just been relentlessly Club World Cupped. So, if someone could let me know in the chat before I finish, that would be spectacular. Monday it is. Thank you. Whitesnake, I knew you would do this. But we're okay. Okay, cool. Monday. Thank you, guys. Yeah, I'll get a video out aiming for 7 AM tomorrow. It depends on how work goes. I might not be able to if I'm a little bit too tired and if nothing has happened. I don't know. Yeah, hope you enjoyed the stream, and I will see you all later.